Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Hackathon Livestream chat. This is Metis Hackathon. My name is Elena Sinalikova. I am a CEO. We have our Metis team here. Today, we're going to be answering questions online. We also have a guest speaker. So let me share my screen, the presentation, and we are moving on. So yes, our hackathon is open and we're accepting submissions. I know people already submitting. So if you would like to register, please come to hackathon.metis.io and register. We still accept registrations and submissions up until December 30th. So today we're going to share some hackathon progress, some questions that you asked us, and also Q&A. Right now you can start typing in the chat in our Telegram chat for developers, also in Discord, the questions that you have currently, we bring our team to answer them online. So this is our Discord and Telegram. Telegram for developers. We also have other Telegram, but this one is specifically for the developers, and Discord as well. So please get your questions there and we will answer them right now. First, we moving on with some announcements. So we're going to be having we're going to be hiring more and more people. So if you have a Solidity knowledge, please shoot us email at contact@metis.io with your resume. We also launched on Friday, November 26th, we launched the staking and creation of the decentralized autonomous companies. So that went really well successful. So in order to check it out and how many DECs, how many decentralized companies we have, go to portal.metis.io. You can create your own as well. So right now, you can also watch our mainnet progress on our Explorer, Andromeda-Explorer. .metis.io. Our total value locked right now is $17 million. So you can come to this URL and watch all the transactions and everything that's going on the network. Again, hackathon registrations are still open. Please register. We have $1 million in prizes. So please hurry to register. And submissions are open as well. So you can submit, pre-submit, and you can actually correct your submissions up until December 30th. So if you submit right now, it will be beneficial because our team will check your submission and also contact back with all the improvements that you need to make. So you would be, you will have a higher chance to win. Just quick information about Metis. We're building a platform for Web3 business to cater to these use cases and actually more. You can find more use cases at metis.io. We are solving blockchain project problems. So if you have your blockchain project, if you come to this hackathon, you do, then these are the problems that we are solving and the solutions that we provide as well. So the main one, of course, is low gas fees, and we also provide lots and lots of funding. We have more now, even more funding in grants, and also we have more money in our investment DAO, Genesis DEC. I'm going to be talking about that, and also easy to build. We have our policy. We're going to be talking about that, and of course we have all these users and investors that are ready to go on the platform already. Our tech is layer 2 plus built-in DAO infrastructure. So layer 2, this is optimistic rollup and lowering transaction fee, making transactions on Ethereum scalable. And we also have a built-in decentralized autonomous organization structure. You can create your own decentralized autonomous company in just one click. And that's just the differences between normal traditional DAOs, which have only voting governance and reputation power, and DECs that Metis provides that actually encompasses all the features of the company, and you can run a full-blown business on a blockchain using that structure. So our recent progress, we launched Andromeda, our mainnet. We launched a DEC creation, staking and mining. And of course, our verifier nodes are up and running already as well. And yes, this one I already mentioned. Our ecosystem is growing. So our partners now starting implementing one by one, integrating into Metis, and this one is in progress. We implemented within our staking, we implemented the bridge. So you can bridge the funds to Metis. Right now we support only Metis tokens, but starting December 6, we're going to implement more and more tokens to support for the bridging. So look forward to the announcements. And of course, if you can create your DC, if you go to portal.metis.io, last when I was doing this presentation, that was over 700 companies created with over 3,000 members in these companies. Yeah, and you can see the ranking of the companies. So the companies that are created, some of them have up to 100 members each. So they're growing by the day. So you can check the ranking too. After you create your DC, you will be able to access the ranking as well. So Polis, I would like to highlight a little bit the tool that we created specifically for developers, for DevOps, to build on Metis. And one more time, highlight that Metis is EVM equivalent. It means that if you have already smart contracts on Ethereum or any EVM compatible networks, so no changes needed for the smart contracts. You can port without any changes. So that's what we delivered during our Andromeda launch. So big one is for the hackathon, of course, Polis is allowed to manage all the accounts and the code, and also builder mining, which our hackathon participants also going to benefit from. So the builder mining is a program when you actually earning money from every transaction that you make. Of course, Polis, this is something we develop for developers, so native multi-chain support. Also, you can create your own domains, token-based authentication, application transaction tracking, and also contract templates preview. And that's how Polis look like. I will exit my screen share just for a second. So I could demo you. So you can see probably my Polis account, I am logged in. You can log in with your MetaMask, or you can log in with your username and password, which is email and password, which I did. And in here, you can see everything that are available right now. So first of all, I would like to point out the documentation library. So for example, the developer guide, if you go to developer guide, so you can have full instruction on how to develop on using Polis, and also the user guide for Metis and for Polis itself too, and that's on the documentation library. In a dashboard, of course, you can view your token balance. You can also switch to a different chains. In here, you can transfer tokens in the different chains as well. You can manage your app permissions. I don't have any. You can also create your own domain and manage your own domain. You can manage your applications. You can also, right now you see that people already creating the smart contract templates. There are different ones. So you can manage your own if you created ones. And of course, you can, in here, you will be able to visit Block Explorer, but for now you can use Andromeda-explorer.metis.io. And of course, you can do your profile settings as well and read the legal notice. So this is all the features that are available in the Polis. So please guys use that. And so that is very, very handy for the development. So let me get further through the presentation. So far we have 663 builders registered for this hackathon. It's growing. Thank you very much for registering. Tasks are still the same. Either build new Ethereum DApp or port existing Ethereum DApp to a Metis layer 2. So you have to do it either to Metis Stardust or Andromeda, which is mainnet, and Stardust is a testnet. So both if you deploy to one of those, your submission will be accepted. We have 6 tracks, and so there we have questions like which tracks are more important than the others. They all important to us. Of course, if you are right now integrating any of the infrastructure platforms such as Avi, for example, then these are probably going to be more useful for us. So thank you very much. But other than that, all the tracks are very important. We'll also have lots of partners for this hackathon as well, and all of them are offered the additional bounties. So please go see on our dev post and our also hackathon.metis.io. All the bounties are listed. Please see which ones are applicable to you. And as I mentioned as well, so we have our created already our Genesee DC, so Genesee decentralized autonomous company that encompasses the investors that are investing into the startups that come into Metis platform, and the pool for the investment is $100 million right now in grants. So please come and build and get into this pool of the grants. In order to do that, of course, you can enter hackathon and we consider you to all the investments and grants as well. But as well, you can additionally go to metis.io/grants and apply. So we have 100 million from Genesee DC. We have also grants from grants of our own. As well, also we have the builder mining as the rewards from every transaction. And of course, we provide you full marketing support with that. Again, hackathon submissions are accepted. So you can go and submit already on metis-ethereum.devpost.com. You can also pre-submit using this Google form. If you don't want to submit via DevPost yet, you can do that via Google form, and we also can help you with that. I highlighted again some of the submission examples that we already have. That is, in my opinion, really good. So you can go take a look at those and see what they've done so far, and just use them as an example. In order to get the main prize, so you have to basically deploy on Stardust or Andromeda, submit on DevPost, and that's it. And select all the applicable bounties. But if you also would like to get advantage of the builder mining program, so you submit and select the builder mining option. So after you've been approved, you will need to stake Metis tokens, and also you will be able to mine Metis tokens proportionally to your stake. So therefore, getting money from every transaction. Rules. So main rule, probably only one track. So you have to pick your track of your choice that you submit into. You have to also, it has to be deployed, your app have to be deployed on Stardust, on Andromeda. So we don't accept the submissions that are not deployed to Stardust on Andromeda. You also select any partner prizes, select builder mining option. You have to create a demo video, so we understand what your application is doing, and you have to give us an access to the code as well. And of course, you have to submit at metis-ethereum.devpost.com. Judging criteria, they are pretty standard. So unicorn, value proposition, problem solving, business model, clean working solution with no bugs, vision and a team, and social impact. These are just the dates for your reference. Submission deadline is December 30th and awards is on January 20th. And again, if you would like to take a look at Metis documentation, please do so at docs.metis.io. Now it's your opportunity to ask the questions. So please type your questions in the Discord or Telegram, or we're going to answer them online right here. So please get ready with them. And just go over some of the questions that we got recently. All right, so we can find the documentation. So that one I just covered. So which business idea are the priority for Metis right now that we should focus on first? So the higher priority for us is the infrastructure integrations that would in future support other DApps in the future. In the future to DApps. All right, so examples would be DeFi lending platforms APIs, for example, Avi, wallets, including multi-sig, Oracle. So all this, all the infrastructure and any other infrastructure that you can think of, this would be very, very useful for us. Thank you very much. Submission deadline is December 30th, 2021. Our current Metis Bridge support, so the current Metis Bridge support only Metis token. What other tokens will be supported and when? So starting December 6th, supported tokens on Metis Layer 2 and Bridge include USDC, USDT, DAI, WBTC, which is RAP, BTC, ETH, Avi, Curve Finance, Uniswap, Link, and WOW. So this tokens come in on board starting December 6th. Also, you have lots of questions that asking us what kind of platforms can be deployed. Yes, you can deploy the platforms, especially if you already have these platforms on other EVM compatible networks. Yes, you can deploy them right away without any changes. Yes, but the answer is yes, you can deploy the platforms for learners. Yes, so we received this technical questions. Received an error when compiling, gas price too low. What does it mean? Well, that means exactly what you see, gas price too low. So you try to remove the gas price field from your deploy script. So that would be one of the solutions. All right, so question is, I have a project to sell properties through NFT ownerships and also another project to fork Olympus DAO. How easy or difficult it is deployed to Metis? So if your business logic has already been implemented and you have the relevant smart contracts, the integration will be very, very straightforward as Metis as EVM equivalent. If this is something new that you have to develop, yes, of course, the business logic is this is what you need to develop. Are you looking into DevTools integration? So yes, currently we are looking at ways to automate lots of dev tasks because they are still in manual mode. So right now, currently our focus is deploying smart contracts directly using Polis, and in the future we will look at the integrations with DevTools such as Hardhat. And we also have lots of questions, so I'll just probably skim them through because we already went through them last live stream. So how to get Metis tokens, how to connect to Metis Bridge. You can find this all information in the docs.metis.io. You don't have to download the custom compiler because Metis is EVM equivalent, so Hardhat, Waffle, Ethereum can be used directly. You don't need to create a wrap Metis token. Yes, you can migrate and you should migrate your DApp to Metis. So yes, so there are questions that related to the MetaMask. Yes, you should be able to manually add the RPC URL to the RPC provider object into Ether.js. OVM 2.0 is already implemented, yes. Is it possible to replicate programmatically what Polis UI offers? Yes, the policy has the REST API. All endpoints are available at docs.metis.io/policy/API. So yes, so technical question like this, when you have some errors, yes, usually ask in our Telegram chat, and our devs will reply right away, will respond right away to the question. Any compiler version restrictions? There's no compiler version restrictions so far. So this is questions. So for the sole compiler, so you can compile without any OVM settings. For the smart contracts on Andromeda, nonce expired errors. So there's no need to set the gas limit. So that's basically the answer. Issue of the weird token balance. So yes, OVM is removed and Hardcat can be used directly in the projects. You don't need to configure OVM in Hardcat. No, it's already done for you. Metis is not integrated with Graph yet, so you can use the self-hosted subgraph service. Oh, and by the way, if you would like to integrate, again, infrastructure projects, please do it. I'm unable to send test Metis tokens. Any idea? So probably the gas limit is relies on L1 Ether gas price, so sometimes transaction fails. Question about Polis SDK. So do you have the set local domain differently according to OS? No, you don't have to. And again, we have all questions that we have a QA archive. You can reference that as well. So at the moment, I have, please type your questions in the chat. So let me just again bring up the chats to the screen here. So here the chats. So please type your questions now. So yeah, I have a questions from the audience right now. What conditions do I need to fulfill in order to participate in the hackathon? So the conditions are that you need to deploy your DAO, your smart contracts on Metis layer 2. It's either Stardust or Andromeda. So you can use it directly, or you can use it, using polis.metis.io. And also you have to submit at metis-ethereum.devops.com. So you have to submit. So if you register at hackathon.metis.io, you will be sent email with all the instructions. And if you're in doubt, please ask in one of those groups that are in the screen. How long does it take to get developer approval on Polis General? It has to be within minutes. So so once you do, if you don't receive yours within the minutes, so please right away contact us in the Telegram, and we will approve. So we are there all the time. So yeah, it should be within minutes. All right, how can developer look ahead when developing to make sure they are incorporating some of the great new partnerships for storage solutions? So this is a very good question. So we are right now in the process of developing our own decentralized storage solutions. So if you are in doubt, so which ones, like if you have an idea of which ones you would like to use, again, drop us a line in the chat. And we tell you whether we're already in a contact with them or not. So if you have any ideas, and also all the partnerships that we're making, the new ones, they all go into our Twitter, into our Discord, into our Telegram. So you can look at the history of the message as well. And you can look at our ecosystem chart on the metis.io website to see what partnerships we have. So guys, please, again, ask your questions here in the chat. So in the meantime, I would like to give a stage to our guest speaker. Garima Bajpai. So she is a founder of Community of Practice, Devops of Canada, and she will be talking today DEVOPS to DataOps. So this subject is very, very much applicable to all our hackathon developers. So Garima brings a lot of expertise in the DevOps space. And yeah, so Garima, it's yours. Welcome.
I hope you can hear me clearly.
I can hear, but maybe not very clearly. It's not sure why it is. Maybe it's my microphone, maybe it's something else. I will try to mute myself and try to speak again.
If there's a glitch from my side, I have to fix it. I'll be back in a moment.
Yeah, I still cannot hear you really well because it's like your voice drops, interrupts a little bit. So I'm not sure what is happening because I was able to hear you really well when we spoken before. You can try to, drop off and rejoin. So maybe that will help. Or if you change your microphone settings, maybe.
Yes, I will.
All right, so while Garima is fixing her mic, so let's again go over our future, what Metis is developing right now. So we are, of course, all which is decentralization, and that's what our main focus is on. So what we've done for it, pool of sequencers. So all our DACs are sitting on their own rolled up chains. Therefore providing a decentralization and pool of sequencers to commit the transactions to layer one. So from the decentralization, we have three parts that we are developing and developed. So these are the sequencers, rangers and verifiers, and that's what we are focusing on as well. So the phase one is already have decentralization in, so ability to switch sequencers, the verifiers, and already has peers, but they are not just open to the public yet. So we also have this automated process to open a new roll-up chain. So when a project join, a new roll-up chain opens. So, but it's not also open to the public just yet. Currently on the Metis, we have $2.5 for ERC20 transaction fees. And NFT minting currently cost around $5. So these are the current gas prices, but we right now are developing, of course, solution to lower this gas prices as well. So what we do, we are on the verge of becoming the best roll-up in the industry. For that, we are building distributed storage, and not only for the business data, but also for the roll-up data and for fraud-proof challenge process as well, which is connected to the decentralization. So much larger number of transactions can be rolled up, which will result in a significant reduction of the gas cost. So therefore, with the distributed storage, we can roll up many thousands of transactions. And this is how we achieve this promised fees in cents rather than in dollars that right now. So that's what in development right now. And I will try to bring Garima back. So Garima, please try.
Yes, so I think
Oh,
now you
awesome.
could hear me properly, right? So let me start sharing my screen. I'm really sorry about the glitch, but here we are. Okay, so I'll start my topic of the day today. I'm going to talk about DevOps to DataOps and what is changing with data. And before I actually start my talk, I would like to reflect that this is a perspective which has been created by Canada DevOps Community of Practice here in Canada, which has three chapters: Toronto, Edmonton, and Ottawa. And we have done a lot of experiential learning events, gamification. We do a lot of crowdsourcing, which is mostly aligned with the way next generation software technology is building up. We are also big on integrating with emerging technologies like blockchain, and that's why we are here with Metis. Our ground principles from the community perspective is that we build long term collaboration on difficult questions like integration of data into DevOps. We also motivate collective action and take that next step in the strategy towards emerging technologies and how we would bring data into a bigger context with DevOps alongside. We do it through gamification and experiential learning as I speak, and our events are inclusive. We include a lot of different roles, perspectives, as well as emerging technologies. So let's quickly get going. I will actually talk about myself a little bit, where I come from. I'm founder of the DevOps Community of Practice here in Canada. I already mentioned that we have three chapters here, and these chapters are growing. I'm also the co-organizer for the DevOps Summit, which happens in Canada. We do a lot of events in and around DevOps. I'm the ambassador chair for Continuous Delivery Foundation and also ambassador with DevOps Institute. Today's call to action is data ops. So in case you want to build more perspective around this topic, collaborate, contribute in any way, my Twitter handle as well as my LinkedIn profile is at the bottom of this slide. So let's get this going. Today's agenda, and I would try to kind of be quick in this because I think that it's too much to cover in one session, but I will briefly touch upon the grassroots journey of data ops. I also would talk about data innovation portfolio and how DevOps practitioners and professionals are helping to steer that innovation portfolio. I'll talk about data ops, what it means, defining it early, key learnings from DevOps practitioners, what are the data ops methodologies and state of art practices available to us, and data ops people and communities. Lastly, I will touch base upon data to value and how that value ecosystem is building up. We had written several crowdsourced artifacts. One of them I'm showcasing on the right hand side of the slide, which is DevOps to DataOps. It's also a crowdsource initiative which we had done through our community of practice. Now let's begin this conversation around the grassroots journey of data ops. I would like to reflect a few facts. 85% of big data projects fail, according to Gartner in 2017. In 2019, actually, VentureBeat did a similar research and found out that 87% of data science projects never make it to production. And in 2019 itself, Gartner predicted that through 2022, only 20% of analytics insights will deliver business outcomes. And there can be various reasons for these findings, but researchers are building consensus around leading causes of big data project failures, which include wrong, inadequate skills to begin with, inadequate business objectives, insufficient business case around data management, data integration, technology complexity is one of the leading causes as well. And then management and cultural resistance, inadequate technical architecture, infrastructure available, and so on and so forth. So I think from a DevOps practitioner perspective, it doesn't sound that much new, because when we started with our DevOps journey, we had similar challenges. I would like to kind of reflect and um, actually bring more recent research on the table with top game changers post COVID. And this is something which I came across that the heat is on, like the boards of directors place analytics and AI as number one and number two priority as post COVID game changer. And it should not be surprising that consensus is building up that we need more literacy in data science projects, as well as how we integrate data science into DevOps pipelines. So I'll talk about a little bit brief detail about how the convergence could can take place, what are the key learnings as we go along in this journey. But before actually I get into data ops, I would say that the next generation products and services would be tightly integrated with data. And this is something which is a new normal. There is a lot of investment going into, ensuring that we have quality data, and data management practices within these next generation products and services organizations. And there is an emergence of new type of ops mesh which is building up. And I will talk about this briefly before I actually go into data ops. So, data SecOps, if you have heard about this data SecOps terminology, it's nothing different. It's like how we treat security in DevSecOps, making security as one of the priority, introducing security into the pipelines early when we are building our data pipelines, as well as ensuring that we have good practices in order to mitigate security risks, as well as ensure that security becomes everybody's responsibility. MLOps is, in my mind, code plus data. To simplify the conversation, machine learning operational practices and state of art practices are building up as we go along. So it is basically how you bring machine learning into operations. How do you actually bring production models into life, as well as how do you manage, govern, and deploy these models in a consistent basis. Model ops is another area where it's an orchestration of models into production. So automating your deployment, monitoring those deployments, having governance around those models, and also ensuring that we have traceability around these models is key when we talk about model ops. And lastly, I would say XOps. XOps is combined practices with data ops, DevOps, model ops as one of the top trends which is building up in data analytics for 2021. And this term was coined by Gartner. Now, having actually looked at all the ops which is building up for data science projects, I would like to keep the focus on and come back with data ops. And we'll have to define it early, but before we define it, why it becomes essential is that uh, 33% of CDOs, chief data officers, by 2022 will have a formal handshake of, assets, valuation of your assets, as well as valuation of your data within the organization with the CFOs. So chief financial officers and CDOs will start working together in order to kind of evaluate, manage, monitor the data component within the organization, and data becomes an asset. It's a new oil in this new normal world, and many of us are saying that, right? So data ops is defined as a combination of data and engineering practices. It is not premature to say that it is the first step towards a new operating model which organizations should be looking at to produce value of data. Now, what it means is that when you reflect on the cost of bad data, you would get to know that how essential and important it becomes. So essentially, many definitions are available, but these five pillars, which I'll talk about today: data flow management, data integration, data quality, data security, and governance. These are the five pillars of data ops. And without this systematic flow of information and data, and data integration practices, data security practices, bad data will happen, and that will cost organizations. So that brings some focus on how do you build data ops practices. Now, thinking about data ops, there are several perspectives, but I will actually ensure that we keep it simple. So there are four things which we should look at from a data ops strategy outlook. The first one is creating that data culture, and that's a priority number one, top one priority for organizations, where people need to understand what is that cost of data, the valuation of data. And that can only happen when you bring communities together, you broaden your perspective, educate people, build consensus on vocabulary, so that creating that data culture and trying to kind of make products and services data driven is the first step in the process of creating that new operating model. The second step would be knowing the data coordinates, meaning that data needs to exchange. There will be several data sets. There will be licenses for those data sets, and how these data sets would be exchanged in a network of data. Components data is integrated, like it doesn't belong in silo. So all those aspects, the data coordinates, knowing them and actually bringing accountability towards those data coordinates is very essential if we want to build a data driven technology orientation or data driven economy on top of whatever product services we have. The third aspect is supply chain efficiency. Of course, we have to separate ourselves from data hoarders. We also need to understand that too much data would create too much liability. So, data is twofold. So it has a shelf life as well as it lives forever. So, we need to have a conscious approach around supply chain of data, as well as building efficiencies, bringing data pipelines, creating those version control, monitoring that data, as well as handshaking roles and responsibilities as we go along. The fourth aspect would be building that data capital, and data capital would in itself means that turning around your business model and monetizing data in an ethical manner. So how do you actually look at data licenses, data set exchange, how the supply chain is managed for data, as well as how do you produce those monetization based on trust, reliability, traceability, accountability is essential. So these are the four pillars when we talk about data ops, and this would be essentially the stepping stone when we talk about a new operating model which rides on data. Now, steering that innovation portfolio, actually, what we talked about earlier, has five different challenges, and I'll not go into more deep into these challenges because our time is limited. But when you talk about data challenges in the data innovation portfolio, the first and foremost challenge is data itself. So, creating right synergies with the business question at hand is the most important and critical challenge. A lot of organizations struggle with it as we move along. Iterate, test, and improve. So, basically, making your data driven strategy incremental, bringing that data ops pipeline, and manifest results incrementally. That's another challenge which we are seeing from a DevOps practitioner's perspective. Fragmented tools. Data ops will require a team that should come together cross functionally and create more and more consistent tool chains. So we need more platform centric data ops tools, and we need to integrate and unify that. Data storage or data hoarding, I've talked about that. And roles. I think data ops is not an exclusive project. It needs focus and a specific skill set, and it also needs education and literacy. So I believe that all this in itself are kind of bringing us to an evolution stages of how we steer our data innovation portfolio. Now, I would also talk about key learnings from DevOps practitioners and experts, and that's why I'm here, right, talking about data ops. So there are four things which is clearly visible from the community of practitioners of DevOps. The first thing, first and foremost, deliver value incrementally, and this has been a learning in the DevOps movement. Think about the process acting on data. It's not only important to have that data, but also think about it. If you could go from A to B, can you reach from B to A? So think about that process. Also, in continuous development and deployment is important. So create that DevOps, data ops pipeline similar to DevOps, and notion of observability of data. And I'll talk about this in more detail in one of the upcoming slides. But having kind of looked at the reflections from what DevOps practitioners would recommend as key learnings, there are two questions which needs to be answered when we move towards data ops. What methodologies are available to us today? And is it enough for the current demand? So clearly, I think we would see that there is more work needed to be done in terms of data agility, data observability, systems of data, and data pipeline. And if you think about it, data agility is more how fast and frequent we convert data into value, right? Data observability shares the same core principle as application observability, health of your data systems. So basically, if the data is stored by human or an API, it should be available and it should be shareable. You have the same level of transparency and traceability. System of data has to be user friendly, reliable, scalable, secure, and maintainable. And if, let's say, we work on these kind of practices for future and evolve this baseline, I think we will have more and more control on how and what will come forward as a business outcome when we integrate data into products and services. Lastly, I would reflect data ops, people and communities. So obviously, a big question which I'm been asked in several conferences, like, okay, now we know there are several challenges, there is a potential with data ops. What do we do? So start with people and communities. That's what my answer is, and that's there is no one size fit all. So in my view, start with these five different roles: data ops engineers who can help you build that data ops pipeline, deliver that data value incrementally; data analyst who can actually help you manage, monitor your data with your business outcomes at hand. Data scientists are extremely important in this equation because they bring the research component, and they need to kind of work hand in hand with data owners, because without ownership and traceability, we would not be able to motivate that new business model and create that new business model for the entire ecosystem. So how data set exchange happens, how the license would work, what kind of data ownership and accountability we need, and overall, with handshaking it with the data managers. Data managers should work closely hand in hand with product and portfolio managers, investment stakeholders, to ensure that they have not only the um, uh, delivery strategy, but also the potential to mobilize evolution with all the practices which we have talked about. So I will actually end this conversation with one of the final slides I have: transforming data to value. And I would put forward something which this blockchain community would love to see. What if data is available on demand as an open platform for co-innovation? And this is extremely important question, because we cannot get into an unfair advantage with large organizations having access to data, whereas small and medium enterprises struggle with it. So building that ethically sourced database culture is a long-term commitment, and it will require to accept our constraints today. But data innovation and data governance must develop side by side. And in order to have businesses to acquire pertinent data information that is also not threatening to the users, we need to create that accountability, governance, and data innovation strategies, the channels where we can ensure that small business, medium business enterprises are not deprived from that big pipe of data which is getting created. With that, I would reflect that we crowdsourced some of these thoughts around how data to value will get transformed and what are the potential use cases. And I would like to highlight one connection with blockchain, that how about using blockchain for digital signing of data sets? And this is not new to this community. I guess your guys are already working on it. We see that there is several research organizations who claim that by 2025 we will have some substantial percentage of news artifacts and entertainment articles digitally signed off. So I am hoping that this is one step in the right direction, and I'm glad that we could have this conversation in this group to take that step further. And now I would hand it back to Elena. Thanks for being here. Now get back to work. I hope that this makes sense. And I wanted to see more and more people included in the hackathon. So get back to hackathon now.
Thank you so much, Garima. That was excellent. And thank you for this. Like, yeah, I learned a lot, about data and DevOps as well. I am former DevOps myself. So very, very interesting. So I still keep an eye on that as well. So guys, if you have any questions to Garima, so please ask her as well in the same chat. So yes, there was Garima Bajpai. So she is a founder of Community of Practice, DevOps Canada. So if you have questions, please ask in Discord and Telegram. And also right now is your last opportunity to ask questions while we have a team here, the development team. I know, Pavel, do you have anything to add to the last question that I dropped you in the chats that people asked us?
I can't share my video, but sure. Let me just read it out.
Yeah.
How can developers look ahead when developing to make sure that they are incorporating some of the great new partnerships for storage solutions, etc.? So I guess this is a question just generally specific to partnerships. In terms of our Metis partnerships, we're collecting them every day. We're having lots of projects deploy, and we want to emphasize that we are working towards having a more accessible storage system. So we're working on having IPFS like storage implemented in Q1 in January. So we want to provide you updates closer to that time, but we believe that it's a very requested functionality that will be very important for lots of projects to come on board, especially because having a integrated decentralized storage alternative is something that other competing layer 2s and layer 1s don't have currently. So that's one of the goals that we're trying to achieve. So we'll definitely make sure to note how you can integrate with all of our partners as soon as they're live and launched, and we're creating documentation for that. So it's a bit of a way, I guess a pathway away from the question. But yes, we will share more of the new partnerships as well as ways to integrate and use their platforms.
Yeah, so and I envision already probably the second hackathon around the data storage and integration with the data storage solutions that are integrated with the data storage. So this is our like a reminder. This is our first hackathon, and this is only like very, very simple task. Basically, deploy or port your smart contracts to Metis. So that's all it is for this hackathon, and we still have like big prizes lined up for that. And once we have the decentralized storage, we will have more hackathons, of course, around that. So yeah, please stay tuned. And thank you so much, Pavel, for responding on that question. So guys, and again, if you have any questions, drop us a message in one of those chats. Yes, and again, hackathon submissions. If you have an idea, if you're already ready to go with your submission, go ahead and submit at metis-ethereum.devops.com. No worries, you can always change your submission up until December 30th. So if you even submit right now, it doesn't mean that you will not be able to change, you will be able to change. So yeah, please submit, and we will actually communicate back to you on how to improve your submission. And if you haven't registered, please do go ahead and register. The registration, what it brings to you, it's actually you will be filled in and all the news, by email that you registered with. So we send in our weekly and sometimes even twice a week letters to our hackers with all the updates, with all the important updates. Also, again, reminder that we have $100 million in grants right now. So this is something that you can take advantage as well. And if you would like, if you're participating in the hackathon So then you will be automatically considered for this investment. But if you're not, then you can go to Metis.io grants and apply as well. And again, questions. I don't see any new questions right now, so that's probably, and then also we're running out of time as well. So I would like to thank my team. I would like to thank all the people that attended today to this live stream, for the hackathon live stream. So in the future, we're going to hold hackathon live streams as we collect more questions. So we will be informing you about every hackathon live stream that are coming up by your email, and also in all Telegram channels. Our next live stream will be not the hackathon one, but the Metis one. The general one will be dedicated to a net swap that are coming to our platform next week. So the net swap, and it's going to be on Tuesday. The live stream is going to be on Tuesday, December 7th at 5 p.m. UTC. So if you would like to learn about NetSwap and all the new features that it brings to Metis network, so please tune in on December 7th. That's Tuesday at 5 p.m. UTC. And then we're going to be following with the hackathon live stream. So our next hackathon live stream is planned for December 23rd, which is Thursday, December 23rd at 5 p.m. UTC. So just keep in mind that date. If we need any more live streams before that, we of course will let you know. So thank you very much. You've been a great audience. Thank you for your questions. And thank you, Garima, again for joining us today and giving the speech. And have a great rest of the day.